In the summer of 1977, a clerk in the basement of a federal records building noticed that one shelf was warmer than the others. It wasn't enough to set off alarms, just enough that the dust didn't settle right. The shelf held gray boxes marked with a dead archive code, the kind used for files that were officially reviewed, redacted, and buried. The clerk didn't open them. People who stayed employed learned early what not to open. But he wrote the shelf number on a yellow sticky note and slipped it into his wallet, where it stayed for the rest of his life. The story really began decades earlier, in the final months of World War II, when governments learned a new lesson. Secrets didn't have to be true to be powerful. They just had to be deniable. Intelligence agencies across the world began collecting people the way others collected stamps. Scientists, bankers, arms dealers, exiles, compromised aristocrats. Anyone with leverage or a weakness was cataloged. By the 1950s, a quiet consensus formed among certain factions. Influence was easier to manage through indulgence than ideology. A network emerged without a name. It wasn't a single organization, more like a habit shared among powerful men who traveled often and trusted each other just enough. They financed retreats, institutes, and foundations that existed mostly on paper. These places sat in neutral countries or remote islands, legally private, culturally invisible. The guests arrived on separate flights, no photographs, no written guest lists. Favors were exchanged, debts created, and sometimes evidence quietly recorded. By the 1960s, the system was mature. Politicians came for donations, executives came for access, intelligence officers came to watch. Everyone told themselves they were there for different reasons, which made it easier to believe none of them were responsible for the whole. The files grew thicker. Film reels, audio tapes, ledgers with initials instead of names. Each government assumed it was the only one keeping records. None of them were. In 1968, a junior analyst noticed that the same initials appeared in 3 separate archives: domestic intelligence, foreign liaison reports, and a sealed customs investigation. The analyst flagged it, expecting praise. Instead, the memo vanished, and the analyst was transferred to agricultural statistics. The initials remained, recurring like a watermark in the paperwork of power. The first near exposure happened in 1973. A small European newspaper published an article about a private island used by international elites. It named no names, but the descriptions were close enough to cause panic in certain offices. Embassies called each other, editors were pressured, advertisers pulled funding. Within a week, the paper retracted the story, citing insufficient verification. 2 weeks later, the editor resigned. A year after that, the newspaper folded. Officially, it was a market failure. Inside the archives, damage control took a more permanent form. Files were split, originals destroyed, copies stored under unrelated case numbers. Some evidence was mislabeled as art donations or maritime insurance disputes. A new rule was introduced. No single document could tell a complete story. Truth would exist only if someone assembled it, and no one ever would. But people did try. In 1985, an investigator working a financial crimes case stumbled onto a shell company whose board members didn't exist. Digging deeper, he found that the company paid maintenance fees for properties no one could find on a map. His supervisor told him to drop it. When he didn't, his clearance was suspended pending review. He never got it back. Years later, he would tell a journalist off the record that it felt less like being fired and more like being erased. The network adapted as technology changed. Tapes became digital. Physical photographs became encrypted drives. Travel logs disappeared, replaced by private air corridors and diplomatic exceptions. The justification shifted too.
What had once been framed as intelligence gathering was now risk management. If everyone was compromised, no one could step out of line without consequences. By the late 1990s, rumors leaked into popular culture. Late-night comedians joked about secret islands. Novelists wrote thrillers that came uncomfortably close. Lawsuits appeared, were settled quietly and sealed. Each incident was treated as isolated, a bad actor, a misunderstanding, a conspiracy theory. The public learned the shape of the story, but never its spine. The real fracture came from boredom, not bravery. In 1985, a contractor digitizing old records found duplicate files that were supposed to have been destroyed decades earlier. The contractor copied them, not for money or ideology, but out of curiosity. The files didn't make sense alone, but together they formed patterns, recurring travel dates, shared intermediaries, identical legal language across jurisdictions. It was like finding the same handwriting in different alphabets. The contractor tried to sell the data. No one would touch it. Journalists said it was too risky. Politicians said it was unverifiable. Lawyers said it was radioactive. Eventually, the contractor uploaded fragments to obscure forums where they were dismissed as fabrications or elaborate role play. The internet swallowed them and moved on. Inside government buildings, however, the fragments triggered alarms. Emergency reviews were held, not to investigate, but to assess exposure. The conclusion was unanimous. Full disclosure would implicate too many institutions to survive it. Partial disclosure was more dangerous than silence. The decision, never written down, was to wait it out. Scandals burn fast, bureaucracies do not. Then came the deaths. Not assassinations, just a series of convenient ends. Retirements followed by sudden illnesses, accidents with no witnesses. Each one closed a small door, removed a caretaker of memory. By 2015, most of the original participants were gone. Their successors inherited power without context, benefiting from a system they didn't fully understand and didn't dare dismantle. Publicly, a few high-profile cases broke through. Names were mentioned, charges were filed, some convictions happened, carefully bounded. The narrative was framed as the exposure of a lone predator, a singular evil. The deeper structure remained untouched. People were encouraged to feel outrage, then closure. The files still existed. They sat in climate-controlled rooms and encrypted servers, referenced by codes no one used anymore. Every few years, an oversight committee would ask for a review. Every time, they were told the same thing: national security, ongoing investigations, foreign sensitivities. The words changed, the meaning didn't. In 2024, an intern digitizing legacy indexes found a cross-reference that shouldn't have been there. A shelf number matched a case code that matched a funding stream still active. The intern flagged it. The report bounced between departments for months. No one denied its accuracy. No one approved action. Eventually, it was classified at a higher level, which solved the problem by making it illegal to discuss. The truth about the network was that it didn't control everything. It was weaker than conspiracy theorists imagined and stronger than skeptics admitted. It didn't rule the world. It simply made certain outcomes easier and others impossible. It rewarded silence, punished disruption, and outlived the people who built it. Some nights, in apartments and offices around the world, people who had brushed against the edges of it opened old folders or replayed half-forgotten conversations. They wondered if history would ever catch up, or if it would always circle the truth without landing. And somewhere, in a basement where the air was just a little too warm, gray boxes sat untouched, not hidden by locks or guards, but something far more reliable: the shared understanding that opening them would cost more than anyone was willing to pay.